You are listening to the It's Your Time podcast, and I'm your host, Certified Life Coach Michelle Arnold Bourque. In today's episode, I'm discussing rewriting your inner critic from imposter syndrome to empowered self-trust. Welcome to the It's Your Time podcast, the podcast where busy professionals like you get the practical solutions and support you need to gain control of your schedule so you can strive to be the best in your career, but without the stress and overwhelm. If you're looking to increase your energy and decrease your stress, you are in the right place. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. And if you are new here, amazing. Thank you. I am so grateful for everyone who takes the time to listen. And today we are digging deep into a topic that I know hits home, your inner critic and how it ties to imposter syndrome. Now, maybe you've had thoughts like, they're going to find out I'm not as good as they think I am, or I just got lucky, or I am not ready for that next role or promotion. Here's the truth. Those thoughts aren't facts. They're simply stories your brain has practiced. And the great news is you can rewire them. Now remember, I always say we don't have to believe everything we think. And today, we'll talk about where this voice comes from, why it shows up, and how to work with it, not fight against it, so you can grow your confidence and trust yourself at every new level. I want to take the time today to explore tools from, of course, neuroscience, it's my jam, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, shadow work, and internal family systems. Now, shadow work and IFS is not something that I've talked a lot about, so it's going to be fun to start exploring it here. And of course, I want to tie it back to the Empowered Rhythm method, which is my new framework that I developed to use with clients and to share with you here each week. As always, the goal is for you to take what works, leave what doesn't, and I would love for you to leave today with some specific prompts for you to use in your own inner critic work. Now, let's start with some background. From internal family systems, or IFS, we learn that we all have different parts inside of us. So the inner critic is just one part. It developed early on, maybe when you were a kid and felt safest being perfect, smart, or the good one. Maybe you had high expectations at home. Or maybe you were praised only for achieving. Maybe you grew up in a culture or in relationships that rewarded you for doing it all. In fact, we might all still be in some of those relationships, right? Especially in sales. And maybe there was kind of this quiet punishment when you were making mistakes. This can really look like a number of different things. The one that comes to my mind is maybe you had the old, why was that a B and not an A question, right? And listen, I think even when we say quietly punished, right, it might seem a little bit harsh because I do believe that in every moment, people who are loving us are doing their best with what they know. And that this work, right, makes us a little bit more aware of different approaches to life. And it's here, right? If you are here, then you are looking to change that. You are looking to bring more awareness. I love to think that you are taking part in a bigger movement to truly have generational change go on. So much fun for me to think about that. Now, the inner critic learned a survival strategy. So if I criticize myself first, maybe I can avoid being blindsided by someone else's judgment. Think about that. How we talk to ourselves is astonishing. I swear. Think about if there was ever I want to say megaphone, but that probably ages me. So whatever it is that would amplify the voices inside of your head into the public space. Holy Hannah. We need more compassion for ourselves. And shadow work tells us that the inner critic is often a reflection of parts of ourselves that we've pushed away. So maybe it's our vulnerability, our imperfection, maybe it's our humanness. And I will tell you, it wasn't until recently when I was doing a session in my coach's program that I really made this connection where it finally dawned on me. I do the work with you here every single day. Now, the thing is, some research says that we have like 60,000 thoughts a day. So a lot of the time on our journey to the next destination, right, whatever that goal is, we also have what I'm calling unthoughts. Like we have no idea what some of the beliefs are that are under the most obvious ones. And the ones we aren't aware of are often the ones that are running a large part of the show. So doing this work, becoming aware, integrating the learnings, and expanding, those are the spirals of growth that I focus on in my coaching. That's what I teach here. That's where the magic is. And here's the thing, your inner critic isn't bad. It's just outdated. Think of it as taking on old beliefs from other folks, right? So there's nothing wrong with the inner critic. In fact, it has been your protector. But now it can often hold you back, especially when you're reaching for those bigger goals in sales and leadership, heck, in life, right? And I want you to really hear that because I think for so many folks, we want to push down the inner critic or we think it's a bad thing. But the truth is, gaining access to this information, knowing what it is protecting you from, coming from curiosity and compassion, the inner critic can be your guide, your coach. Not many people talk about this, right? This can be such amazing wisdom. And I know we think about like our personal board of directors, right? Especially sales, leadership, growth. We talk about like surrounding yourself with the people that would be on your personal board of directors. I want you to think that that's what your inner critic could be. In fact, you might even have a couple different inner critics. I know for me, for example, I have an inner critic that loves to tell me that I am not doing it right. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. It can be life. I'm just doing it wrong. And also that I'm never doing enough. So when we can start to gain awareness on what it is that this is protecting us from and really taking it as a new relationship to be a guide in our life, it can make all of the difference. Because when you start gaining awareness on it, right, you are able to make the changes. That's when you're able to start integrating the change. And I want you to consider that doing this work not only changes your life, but it will change the way you approach some of the most important, maybe some of the most challenging relationships in your life. And that can be an entirely different podcast because I also want to make sure that we take the time today to tie the inner critic, all of this, into the idea of imposter syndrome. It makes so much sense, right? Imposter syndrome is just the inner critic amplified. It's the voice saying, you got lucky. This was just a fluke. Don't mess this up or they'll know you're not good enough. Here's where neuroscience is so powerful. Self-critical thoughts light up the brain's threat system. So your amygdala fires, cortisol floods your body, and your nervous system shifts into fight or flight. Over time, this is a constant internal attack, right? And it chips away at your self-confidence. But self-compassion literally changes the brain. Responding kindly to yourself activates the prefrontal cortex, a different part of your brain. That's the area of problem solving and creativity, and signals to your body you are safe. You can grow here. Remind yourself, I am safe. I can grow here. And here's the important truth. You always get to choose how you respond to your thoughts. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, reminds us that thoughts trigger feelings, which activate our actions, right? I talk about this a lot. You can go back to day one. I mean, there are things that I have kind of evolved, many things that I've evolved in my teachings here. But at the root of it, I have talked about thoughts, feelings, actions, results. And if you continue to believe something like, I'm not good enough, you'll feel anxious and you'll hold back. But if you choose new thoughts, step by step, you create new feelings, new actions, and guess what? New results. And I want to share with you, I love what I developed here, the 3N process. It is just a simple tool that you can use anytime. So number 1, notice the thought. Number 2, not believe it. Remind yourself it is just a conditioned response. And number 3, you take it to the next level thought. So you choose one ladder thought to practice. And a ladder thought is just simply one new thought above your current thought. Remember, thoughts become things. The thoughts you rehearse become your identity. That's great news, right? Because you can choose differently. Self-compassion isn't about letting yourself off the hook, by the way. It's about holding yourself accountable with love, right? And as we go through each season of life and each spiral of growth, self-compassion is what allows us to keep evolving without burning out. And this is where the empowered rhythm method can come into play. Let's walk through each pillar. There are 4 pillars to this, and I want to look at some inner critic prompts that you can use today. So we start with resilient mindset. That is the first pillar. Rewiring your thoughts intentionally is the foundation. So a prompt for you. What thought am I rehearsing right now? And is it one that I want to keep? And then here's a compassionate question for you. If my best friend thought this about herself, what would I tell her? So again, the prompt, what thought am I rehearsing right now? And is it one I want to keep? The compassion question is, if my best friend thought this about herself, what would I tell her? We have such wisdom for our friends, right? Take that wisdom internally. Use it on yourself. And you can even use the 3N process right here. Thoughts that fire together, wire together. So every time you choose a kinder, more empowering thought, you literally are creating new brain pathways. Remember, ladder thoughts are not going from, I could never get that promotion, to, I'm going to run that freaking company. It's more like going from, I could never get that promotion, to, I've had great feedback on my most recent reviews. Maybe it's possible. You see the difference? You just start wiggling the old thought loose enough to start being able to step into the new ideas and the new thoughts. And that's where neuroplasticity takes place. Now, the second pillar, inner energy. Your inner critic drains energy. It's exhausting to battle your own mind, right? So a prompt for you on this pillar could be, what do I need right now to feel safe in my body? And a compassion question could be, can I let myself rest, breathe, or pause without guilt? So what do I need right now to feel safe in my body? Can I let myself rest, breathe, or pause without guilt? And what you could do here is just a simple breath cue. So inhale for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 6. And it just tells your nervous system, I'm safe, I can handle this. Okay, the third pillar, success strategy. Fear-based action leads to over-prepping, over-preparing, overworking, over-perfectionizing. Is that a word? Maybe just perfectionism. A prompt here could be, what would I do if I trusted myself to figure it out? And then your compassion question could be, what's one courageous action I can take today from belief, not fear? So again, what would I do if I trusted myself to figure it out? And what's one courageous action I can take today from belief, not fear? And start with one intentional action. Send the email, ask for the meeting, share the idea without waiting for everything to be perfect. And then the fourth pillar, empowered self-trust. Confidence grows from evidence that you can handle things, even imperfectly. So a prompt here could be, what proof do I already have that I can do hard things? And your question, your compassion question could be, how can I celebrate my wins, big and small, today? So again, the prompt, what proof do I already have that I can do hard things? And your compassion question, how can I celebrate my wins, big and small, today? And end your day by answering, what am I most proud of today? What are 3 wins for me today? What do I want my opinion of myself to be today, right? We are so focused on what we think everyone else thinks about us. Listen, half the time, they're thinking about themselves. They're not even thinking about us, right? So what do I want my opinion of myself to be today? A lot of times, at the end of the day, we are all reminding ourselves about the things that we didn't do, the things that we need to do tomorrow, the things that we screwed up on. I am just suggesting that you start shifting these questions. What am I most proud of? What are the 3 wins? And what do I want my opinion to be? Now, did you happen to notice that our 4 pillars spell out rise? That is the work that we do here, right? We rise, we expand, We become aware, we integrate, we expand. It's that spiral of growth, and we continue on for every new version of ourselves. That is the work, the compound effect. And as you cycle through these pillars again and again, awareness, integration, expansion, you'll find that each spiral of growth feels more grounded, less reactive, and far more empowering. Okay, here's your takeaway for this week. Number 1, notice your inner critic. Number 2, get curious. Ask your inner critic, what are you trying to protect me from? Number 3, use the 3N process. Notice, not believe, and then come up with your next level thought. Number 4, pick one pillar prompt to journal about each day. You can simply take 5 minutes a day and do this work. I am telling you, it does not have to be sit down and get out your quill and paper. It's all so amazing and beautiful. Just start writing it down, okay? Put it in your phone if you have to. As you're sitting around waiting for your next appointment, take these notes. The notes and the questions will be in the notes of the podcast. You can just copy paste into your notes section and then take the time to answer. And then number 5, take one courageous action from a place of belief, not fear. Remember, at the end of the day, no one can convince you you're good enough. Only you can do that. And when you choose self-compassion, you rewire your brain, you grow from confidence, and you lead with more power and, dare I say, joy. Doesn't that sound like so much fun? And when you do more of that, well, the sky is the freaking limit. And that sounds like a blast. Now, as a reminder, if today's podcast resonated, grab my Priority Playbook, the sales edition. It is one freaking amazing tool. In fact, it is jam-packed with multiple tools and ways to help you create more time for what matters most. michelleburkecoaching.com/playbook. And if you're ready to go deeper, using the Empowered Rhythm Method, Voxer coaching experience that I am currently offering, it is the perfect way to rewrite your thoughts, to reclaim your energy, and to rise as a leader, as a self-leader, right? Leading yourself without adding more calls to your calendar. The opportunity that I'm offering here, using the method, using Voxer, is so flexible. I love it. If you are interested, send me a DM, reply to any of the emails, whatever works best for you. I am on the socials at Michelle Burke Coaching, and I am here for it all. Okay, friends, that's what I have for you today. Let's meet back next week. But for now, make it a great day. Take care. Did you know you can take this work to a deeper level with me one-on-one? Go to michelleburkecoaching.com and click on Get Started to begin.